Becky, and I am back with another process video. Today I am going to be using one of those Firefly collage kits that I had found at Tuesday morning, and also some scraps that were just sitting around on my desk. I think the papers that I end up choosing for this layout specifically are from the Maggie Holmes Gather collection. Here I am showing you some of them. I did show you a scrap of Felicity Jane paper, and I do not end up using that one. Going into this layout, I had zero plan. I did not use a sketch this time. I know here lately I have been relying heavily on sketches, but this time I did not do it. So I am gonna mess around with the layering pieces quite a bit, and what I had thought I was doing does end up taking a little bit of a change in the end. It does change a little bit in the end. So right here is where I am trying to figure out my layers. That gray piece of paper that's behind that photo, it is from that Firefly collage pack, and I really like that paper. It's kind of almost shimmery. It's very pretty, but I do not end up using that. I am going to put that to the side and just use the Maggie Holmes behind the photo. I am going to use that teal, the music note paper. There's like a large kind of a check paper, and also a white paper with black polka dots. These little pieces are little pieces of acetate. That Firefly ephemera collection pack had several little tiny pieces of acetate in them. Now the acetate we get now currently, like through the various American crafts collections, they're kind of thick. This acetate is very thin. It's more like a transparency, I think. And I do end up using a film strip and that chevron pattern one, and also one over to the side. It says Forever Family. I am gonna put my title New and Improved. That's the only thing that I really knew I wanted to do with this layout. This is a photo of BJ that Marissa had sent me, and that's what she put on there, was New and Improved, and she sent me this photo of him because he had cut his hair. Now, you've seen me do pictures of my son in the past, and he has long shaggy hair, and he actually cut his hair off. He still kept his beard and his mustache, but baby steps, right? So he did cut his hair, and she texted me that photo and said New and Improved. And I thought that was really cute, so I went ahead and kept that as the title. Here's where I'm trying to put that film strip acetate down, and also this camera. This camera was off of an acetate that was part of one of the American Crafts collections, and I just fussy cut it out. When I go to put this film strip down, I did not like how you could see the photo through it. I initially wanted it at an angle, but I am going to kind of make it more lined up with the photo because I don't like how you can see the photo through the film strip, the center of the film strip. In doing that, I also move the photo around on that teal paper so that the teal paper will all be directly behind the film strip. Here I'm kind of going down at the bottom a little off screen just to bring it closer to my face so I can actually see it. I do this quite a lot throughout this video, so there are going to be some things you don't completely see. I mostly try to cut those bits out, but some of them stay in. As you can see there, I pulled out some doilies earlier. I am going to use one at the bottom left and the half of the one up at the right. It's a full piece now, but I do think I cut that down because there's still half of it floating on my desk. That's kind of why I decided to use this, because I think I had done a Tuesday morning haul and this pack just stayed on my desk, so I was using things that were on my desk, and I had a whole bunch of the Maggie Holmes scraps and then that Firefly pack. I do that occasionally. I think I might go through my scrap bin and just start doing maybe 2 layouts a month that are just scraps that are in the scrap bin, because it's getting a little bit out of control. So here's where I'm trying to go ahead and commit to the layers, and I am trying to glue them from the top down so they can kind of stay where I had them. That little key you see right there I had pulled out earlier, that's from the Firefly embellishment kit as well. It's really cute. A key has really nothing to do with my photo, except for maybe my son has the key to my heart. I know, gag, right? It's okay, guys. but I thought it was cute, so I went ahead and kept it. I do like the key icon for some reason. Here I'm trying to put a piece of the teal over on the right hand side. I do end up taking that off and replacing it with something. I don't know what I replace it with though. I can't remember. Oh yeah, coming up I am going to stick a little bit of Maggie Holmes under there with that acetate piece I had talked about. This other acetate piece that I just put under there that's poking out, the gold check, that is also from an American Crafts line. I think it's a Maggie Holmes, actually. You know how she had those from the Gather collection, had that big acetate sheet and it had like squares, maybe 16 squares on it. I think 16 squares. I can't remember. I went ahead and cut some of those up. Now, since I had previously pulled out my title, because like I said, that's the only thing I really knew for a fact I wanted to do, I did not show the packaging, so I can't really say what the style of thickers those are. They are thickers, they are foam, and I'm pretty sure I had gotten those at Tuesday Morning. It's a really big font, and I really like that font. I was trying to play with some photo corners right there, thinking I was going to tuck it under the photo. I do pull that off and don't end up using it. Here I'm messing with the other piece of that doily. It's not going to go in there. I'm going to try and build, well, I'm not going to try. I am going to build a little cluster up there at the top right, and I'm also going to build one right there at the bottom left. Here's a Maggie Holmes label. I loved this label, and it would have worked out perfectly, I thought, because it was just black and white-ish, and had this little stitching through it. It was really cute. But when I stamped the date on it, I did use StazOn, but apparently I jerked or something and it just messed up the stamping, so I am going to have to cover that up. Here I pull out a little piece of ephemera piece that came in the Firefly collection, and it says Picture Perfect on it. It does have a gold border or gold line at the top and the bottom. This is a little word. It says classic, and I'm trying to put that around the page. It does make it, but kind of down toward the bottom. That little piece down there is an acetate piece. It says Forever Family, and that also makes it, but makes it over there on the right. So I went away and came back, and you can see there's a little cluster over at the right hand side that's starting to be built. It's not glued down yet. Here I go ahead and decide to put my title down. I am going to make it go up the left and across the top. It says New and Improved. I have a little bit too much space, I think, between the W and the ampersand, but I didn't change it because I did use some liquid glue and I didn't want to rip my paper, so that's just going to be how it stays. So I went ahead and put that photo cluster down right there. Here I am building up at the bottom. I put a little Maggie Holmes picture frame that I had cut out of one of her papers down there, and I put that classic word on there. Here's where I mess up that label. See it? It is a blob. I end up taking out my label punch and just punching a white label and putting it over it. There's where I put another one of those picture frames from that same Maggie Holmes paper. I'm going to tuck it under there. Here I am stapling on the Forever Family acetate. I am going to color those staples with a gold Signo pen, just so the gold ties in. I didn't want to keep the staples silver. I'm going to go back to this key. I am going to put this key down with some Zots. Here's where I pull out the other label. This was just punched, like I said, with that label punch that I have, and I took a gold Signo, the same gold Signo Uniball pen, and just kind of went around the edges of that label with it. It is quite messy, the gold lining I did on it, but that's okay. It was too stark being white against there, and that Picture Perfect had some gold detailing on it, so I wanted to keep in line with that and use gold. That key is gold as well. I'm using this black and white twine to kind of wrap around a little bit. It was double, and I did go ahead and cut one of the pieces off, so it's just a single, and I am using some liquid glue to hold it down. I was going to use my stapler, but it did not have a long enough reach, so I'm just going to use some tacky glue to hold that down. right like that. And I'm going to cut off the tail. Alright, there is a button down there at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it or not. It just fell off the layout. That was in the pack as well. Here I'm taking out this ginormous trimmer and I am going to trim this down. I initially was just going to have this on a white background and it was a little too boring. I am going to pull out a piece of black and white diagonal stripe paper from a Heidi Swapp paper pad. I believe it's a Heidi Swapp. It could be a DCWV. And I am going to stick it on that paper right there, and I'm going to stick it at an angle. I do want to make it a little bit smaller though, because it was taking up too much space width-wise. So I am putting it down at an angle right here. Excuse me. Here's where I decide the angle I want it at. It goes like that. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to do this anymore, but I am going to go ahead and stitch my buttons on. I know, it's ridiculous. I can't help it. I just really like to do it that way. So I am stitching my buttons on. I have 2 buttons on there. I stitch them both on with that black and white baker's twine. I do pull out my sewing machine and stitch around the edges of the white. I do a zigzag stitch in each of the corners right here. Now down there at the bottom, I did sneak in a tag that you did not see me sneak in. I put it on the layout with a paper clip. It is not attached. The back of this tag has all my smushy journaling on it as a note to my son, and it's not attached. He can take it off there. Alright, I don't do anything else to this layout. After I did the stitching, I did put some Heidi Swapp Color Shine in Gold on there, and that's it. Thank you so much for joining me, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.